All right, let's dive right in. Today we're going to take a totally standard Linux server and turn it into an absolute virtualization powerhouse using KVM. If you've ever wanted to run a bunch of different operating systems on just one piece of hardware and do it efficiently, you are in exactly the right place. So let's get started.
So let me just start with a quick question. What if I told you that you could get the same kind of powerful, high-performance virtualization that the huge cloud providers use, but you could get it completely for free, running on your own gear? Well, that's not a trick question. With KVM, you absolutely can.
Here's the game plan. We're going to tackle this in 6 simple sections. First, what KVM even is. Then we'll jump into the installation and get the network set up right. After that, the fun part, creating our first virtual machine. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with how to manage your VMs and some pro tips to make your life easier.
Okay, first things first. Before we get our hands dirty and start typing commands, we really need to understand what we're dealing with. So what is this KVM thing anyway?
KVM stands for Kernel-Based Virtual Machine. Now, the magic words here are Type 1 Hypervisor. That sounds complicated, but it just means it's not some clunky application running on top of your operating system. No, this is baked right into the DNA of the Linux kernel itself. It's talking directly to the hardware, which means you get raw, unfiltered performance.
And when I say powerful, I'm not kidding. It's totally open source, and it's so robust that it's the backbone for giants like AWS and Google Cloud. Yeah, the big guys use this stuff. The only catch? Your CPU has to support hardware virtualization. But hey, pretty much any modern processor does.
Which brings us to our very first reality check. Before you do anything else, pop open a terminal and run this command. It's just checking your processor's info file for one of 2 little flags: VMX for Intel chips or SVM for AMD. If you see a bunch of text light up in your terminal, congrats, you're golden. If you get nothing back, you'll just need to hop into your server's BIOS and flick that virtualization switch on.
Hardware check passed? Awesome. Now we can move on to the really fun part, the installation. You can think of this next section as us forging all the tools we're going to need to build and command our virtual empire.
First up, we're installing Cockpit. And seriously, this thing is a lifesaver. It's a slick web interface for managing your server. So helpful. These 3 commands do all the work. 1 to install it, 1 to turn it on and make sure it stays on, and 1 to poke a little hole in the firewall so you can actually get to it from your web browser.
Next, we install the heart of KVM itself. The first command pulls in the main virtualization modules. The second one gives us all the essential command line tools we'll need, like virt install. This is the stuff that actually transforms our plain old Linux box into a true hypervisor.
And to wrap up the install, just 2 last commands. That virt host validate command is super handy. It runs a bunch of checks to make sure everything's set up correctly. Then we enable libvirt. You should think of libvirt as the brain of the whole operation. It's the master control service that juggles all our VMs, storage, and networking.
Okay, our hypervisor is officially installed. But right now, any VMs we create would be pretty lonely, because they can't talk to the outside world. To fix that, we need to mess with the network a bit. This section is all about building something called a network bridge.
So what's the point of a bridge? Well, it's actually pretty simple. We want our new virtual machines to show up on our network just like they were real, physical computers. We want them to get their own IP addresses from our router, be seen by other machines, the whole shebang. A bridge makes that happen.
And honestly, the easiest way to do this is right inside that Cockpit web interface we just installed. You just cruise over to the networking section, click Add Bridge, give it a simple name like BR0, and then tell it which of your server's physical network ports to use. That's it. A few clicks and you're done.
All right, this is it. The moment we've been working towards. The foundation is laid, the server is ready, the network plumbing is connected. It is time to spin up our very first virtual machine.
But wait, one last tiny prep step. You're going to need an operating system installer, which is usually a file ending in .iso. Now, to make your life way easier, the best place to put that file is in this specific directory, /var/lib/libvirt/images. That's just the default spot KVM looks for stuff, so it saves us a headache later. Okay, so now you're at a fork in the road. You've got 2 main ways to do this. You can use the Cockpit web interface, the GUI, which is fantastic for beginners because it's all visual. Or you can use the virt install command in the terminal. That's the command line interface, and it's pure power if you want to script or automate things down the road.
If you go the Cockpit route, it's basically like filling out a web form. You give your VM a name, you tell it where to find that ISO file we uploaded, you decide how much storage and memory it gets, and this part is crucial. You make absolutely sure to select that network bridge BR0 that we created earlier. Hit Create and watch the magic happen.
So your VM is up and running. That's awesome. But now what? How do you actually control the thing? In this section, we'll cover the essential commands you'll need for day-to-day management.
And just to show you what I meant by the power of the command line, this is what that virt install command looks like. See that? Everything we just did with all those clicks in Cockpit, it's all right there in one single line. You can see the flags for the name, the RAM, the disk, the network. It's perfect for automation.
Now for your daily driver command, you're going to get to know and love a little tool called Versh. Think of it as your Swiss Army knife for controlling VMs. With Versh, you can see a list of all your machines, you can start them up, shut them down gracefully, and, yep, even delete them for good. This little cheat sheet covers the big ones you'll use all the time.
We are on the home stretch now. You've got a working hypervisor, you've got your first VM running. Now let me give you a few pro tips and best practices that'll help you avoid some common headaches and keep everything running smoothly.
All right, lightning round. Do use the QCOW2 format for your virtual disks. Why? One word, snapshots. It lets you save the state of your VM like a time machine. It is a total game changer. On the flip side, don't store your ISOs in your personal home folder. And please, whatever you do, do not disable SE Linux. It's there for a reason, and it's a critical security layer.
So look, if you forget everything else from this explainer, just remember this one thing. This is the golden rule of KVM. Number 1, always verify your hardware works first. Number 2, for any real work, use bridged networking. And number 3, manage your stuff with either the simple Cockpit interface or the powerful Versh command.
And just like that, you have everything you need to get going. You've literally gone from a bare Linux server to a full-blown enterprise-grade virtualization host. The only real question left is, what are you going to build first?